Welcome in to Bears Weekly, powered by IGS Energy, a Chicago Bears network production. Bears Weekly is brought to you by Advocate Healthcare, Athletico Physical Therapy, CDW, Connie's Pizza, IGS Energy, and Miller Lite. Here are your hosts, Jeff Joniak, a.k.a. the Mayor of Bearsville, and his sidekick, Tom the Surfmaster Thayer.
It's Bears-Packers, meeting 209 in the regular season. That's all that needs to be said. Tom Thayer, Jeff Joniak, welcome to Bears Weekly on ESPN 1000 of the Bears Radio Network. Glad to have you alongside on this Thursday night. Coming up, we have a conversation with rookie running back Kyle Monangai. We got assistant head coach, receivers coach Randall L. with us, and Dan Rochar, the offensive line coach, for a look at Micah Parsons, the star of the Packers. We'll also hear from Dennis Allen and some more insight from a guy that's been a part of probably, as I think about it, 40 years basically of Bears-Packers as a person employed, as a player and or announcer. That's about 80-some games, including playoffs. Your emotions are stirred every time. I appreciate it. I respect it. You got a little bit of angst and anger. What's your anticipation of this 209th matchup?
You know, I would say in the last 20 years, I had very limited expectations of success going into Lambeau or playing them in Chicago. My expectations have completely changed. And a lot of that has to do with Ben Johnson. You know, what we see in the constant improvement of this football team, players specifically, but as a team as a whole, and how they go in and their resiliency and their fight to the end. It's probably on this day as I've had as much confidence as I've had going up to Lambeau Field in quite a while.
Dan Barilli, Jordan Tredup, Katie Fox, our producers in studio tonight. We thank Kendra Smith at ESPN and our executive producer of the Bears Radio Network, Eric Ostrowski. So the Bears snapped a 10-game losing streak last year, ending at Lambeau, also a losing streak against the Packers. That was in the year 2025. And now look to extend their winning streak to 6. The Packers have won 6 of 8. They are 4-2 at home. The Bears are 5-2 on the road. Young quarterbacks. Jordan Love, with more experience, is playing well. Caleb Williams also playing very well and on a roll right now with his Bears. This is their third meeting. What should each expect from their respective defenses? And we'll start with Jordan Love against Dennis Allen.
There's a lot of new, but this is about Dennis Allen and the Chicago Bears with the talent that he brings aboard. He's got to see a defense that brings you a variety of fronts that is very confusing. He deploys his attackable assets in such a way that you have to understand accountability, vulnerabilities, and football timing processes as a young quarterback. And to me, I'm always a big believer is when you play at home and the crowd is silent, the Bears defensive front, they find the rhythm to the cadence. And sometimes as you like to be at home and you like to have that home crowd, sometimes the defense can take advantage of something like that. And so we'll see what happens in the game. And you know, T.J. Edwards, he's back at practice. Noah Sewell's back at practice. Jalen Johnson's back at practice. Kyler Gordon's back at practice. So in the meantime, you get a lot of experience for some of these young guys. Now you have experienced talent coming back. How does Dennis Allen formulate a plan to make sure that mentally and physically you keep all these guys active?
And then Caleb against Jeff Hafley. Throw Ben Johnson in there as well. 5-1 in his time as an offensive coordinator against the Packers with the Detroit Lions. Now it's Jeff Hafley. The last 2 years, very good defense in terms of what they do. I'd imagine his focus will be trying to stop the Bears' rushing attack right now, which is on a heater.
Yeah, but, you know, you can't leave out Micah Parsons because Hafley's never going to come out of the coaching box. He's never going to get in a stance that his biggest influence is calling down to the headset into the head of the linebacker, and he's going to call the play. To me, if I'm looking at the Green Bay Packers, what do I do against Parsons? And if you brought up with Rochar about Gary, and he didn't say, oh, you know, he's just having a good season because of Parsons. He's a good football player. So So, and that's where my interest lies, and that would be the totality of my preparation for the Green Bay Packers if I was getting ready for them. How do I limit the exposure of Micah Parsons?
Bears with the most takeaways in the NFL, of course. The Packers, the fewest giveaways. And maybe that'll change because of a guy and the rest of the defense. Cornerback Nashawn Wright, named NFC Defensive Player of the Month. Tommy, the first Bear since Robert Quinn in November of 21. 5 takeaways, including 3 picks and 2 fumble recoveries. With 1 on Sunday, he'd become the 6th player since 2000 with a takeaway in at least 6 consecutive games. That's in the league. Most by a defender in a single November since 2015, and 5 takeaways most since Urlacher in 2007. Here's some of Nashawn Wright of the podium, a special appearance at the podium today after this rare honor.
Well, originally for me, it was just to come in, hit the ground running, and my original goal was just to make the 53, and then things kind of shook out the way they did, and I was given an opportunity, so yeah.
I know you're focused on everything going forward, but how do you kind of process the idea of going from just wanting to make the roster to now sitting here as the conference player of the month for November?
It's crazy. I haven't too much thought about it, just because this league is so week to week, and you can't too much get caught in the moment. So, but now that you asked the question, I mean, it definitely is cool, super cool to just come from where I came from and be where I'm at now.
Was this emotional, the whole ride?
Yeah, just because of the things that have happened to me. But yeah, it's definitely an emotional, just a journey for myself. Yeah.
You talk about the journey. How does it feel to sort of deliver when you're finally given the opportunity to show what you can do?
Feels good, just because I remember we played the 49ers in 2023, and I was inactive, or I was on IR. And Al said, he literally came up to me and just like, when you get your opportunity, like, just take advantage of it. And the other day we kind of talked about it, and it's just crazy to think about that we had that talk, 2-3 years ago, and now it's kind of happening. I got my opportunity, and I'm playing well.
Has your opinion of yourself and what you're kind of capable of changed at all this year by taking that opportunity?
You mean like
as a player?
Nah. If I'm answering your question correct, I've always been confident in myself and my ability. It was just more so about getting the opportunity and being able to bump your head a few times, because when you're new out there, like, of course you're gonna bump your head. It's the National Football League. You're dealing with Class A athletes, so you're gonna bump your head. And being able to be out there and have those hiccups and still be able to ride it out and just get better as the season goes along, it definitely plays a huge part in my success and anyone's success in this league.
How's Coach Harris and Coach Allen helped you this year so far?
They helped me a lot. Just always talking to me. Even today, like, I had a play, and DA came up to me and was just like, kind of gave me some coaching points, and it helps you slow the game down when you have coaches like DA and Al who are constantly trying to fix things and help you better your game and anticipate certain plays.
How do you describe the journey that you and Al have been on, really, since your rookie year?
Crazy. Just because of the fact that he's always believed in me, and that goes a long way. I texted him yesterday, and I just told him, like, I appreciate him more than he knows, just because teams gave up on me in a sense, and it was cool. It's cool to have someone like that who believes in you. I've been on. This is now my 3rd team, and he's still been there every step of the way, checking on me. So it's definitely been a crazy journey that we've been on, and I hope to continue to be with him and finish out my career with him, maybe, however it may shake out. But yeah, it's definitely been crazy.
Sean, why do you think he got in your corner initially when you were in Dallas together?
I think just the way I worked. I come to work, I don't say too much, and I just put my head down and I work and I listen. I'm not combative at all. Coach can cuss me out and it won't move me at all. Bean was kind of like that. He'd chew you out, And so I've never been moved by like hard coaching or anything. So I'm just a guy who I'm a sponge out there, and I think he just seen the way I worked every day, and I think that's why he believed in me so much.
We've said it before. He's one of the best stories in the NFL this season, and I couldn't be more pleased for him given his journey. And I think he's quite emotional about it, Tommy. And I found a coach that utterly believes in him and Al Harris.
Yeah, I think the neat thing about the journey of Nahshon Wright is he didn't come in here as a day one starter. He was alerted that there was an injury on the field and he had to go in and play. And he used the words opportunity. And there's so many players throughout the history of the NFL is when their opportunity is presented to them, it could be in an instant, it could be in a week-long notification. And to me, it's the second most difficult position in football to play, cornerback. And I'm really excited for Nahshon, but I also learned what a self-confident man he is, and about, not being rattled if a coach says something to him, living up to all expectations from him, having the work ethic that these guys are looking for. So I'm excited to hear and see that for Nahshon.
It's a crazy total of 8 at this point. Number 1 in the NFL, of course. The first Bear with at least 5 interceptions and 3 fumble recoveries in a single season. Can you name that Bear?
I cannot.
Wilbur Marshall, 1986.
Wow. Wilbur is a fantastic football player, one of the all-time great athletes playing that position.
No question. When we come back, we're going to hear from outstanding rookie running back Kyle Monangai. This is Bears Weekly on ESPN Chicago and the Bears Radio Network.
Welcome back to Bears Weekly, a Chicago Bears production on the flagship home of the Bears, ESPN Chicago.
This segment of Bears Weekly is brought to you by IGS Energy with Tom Thayer, Jeff Joniak, who sat down with the Rutgers rookie, the 7th rounder, the 22nd running back selected in the draft. Talking to Ben Johnson on Monday, he said, yeah, that somebody made some mistake. We should have drafted him earlier. So here's our sit down with Kyle Monangai talking about when he became knowledgeable about the idea that he was tough.
Probably at a young age. I'm the youngest of 3. I watched my older brother, play football. It's kind of how I got into it. And being from New Jersey, it's just we preach tough guy football. That's like what you'll hear throughout the state, north and south side of it. And, it's just the way I grew up playing the game. It's just like that there was only one way to play it, and that was to play tough.
Yeah, I mean, I close my eyes and see you run, and all I see is physicality and toughness. And then I really get a kick out of watching your tape in pass pro.
I appreciate it.
You are stubborn as a cuss, man. How about that?
I gotta be.
Yeah, I mean, was that an acquired taste, though? I mean, it's part of it?
If it was at such a young age that I can't even remember. I mean, if I were to pinpoint a time, I'd say it started in high school. My coach used to preach to me, it's like, if you want the ball, you got to protect the quarterback. And, that mantra kind of stuck with me through high school, college, and then to now. So, I had the blessing of having great coaches that instilled that in me at an early age, and it's something I just took pride in.
Well, it's the best way to stay on the field, right?
Absolutely.
For third down in those third and long situations or whatever it may be. But does it feel like you're in the land of the giants when you're trying to find a crack and get through that trash?
I'm used to it. Like you said, college was kind of similar, but I kind of use it to my advantage at this point because, a lot of people can't see me when, I'm behind the line of scrimmage. And our O-line, you see how big they are, so I hide pretty well behind them.
You do?
And, they do a great job of moving people. So, it's something that became kind of like, damn, everybody's kind of bigger than me, but to now it's like, it's actually harder on them because they can't see me, and it allows me to hit the hole. And if I'm fast enough, I can usually beat them to the spot.
Did that tie you to any backs in history that you kind of watched and fell in love with because of their size, or did you not look at it that way?
No, not necessarily. I think I still had the delusion that I was still growing. So, I fell in love with just people's running style, not really try to compare myself stature-wise. But, who knows? Maybe I'm still growing. I still, fingers crossed.
Right. You never know. You might get an inch or two.
I could wake up tomorrow and be 6'3".
You're right. When you play like it,
I have to.
Mentally. So do you convince yourself, hey, man, maybe you don't need to convince yourself. You just know. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like I said, I've been playing the game this way for so long. It's almost just embedded in me by now. It's just how I play.
Who did you love watching?
A lot. I mean, I was like a student of the game, still am, of course. But when I was a young kid, I had to give Reggie Bush his flowers. That was the first running back that I fell in love with. Just watching him play at USC. Adrian Peterson, Marshawn Lynch, Arian Foster. I was a big Arian Foster fan. LaShawn McCoy. There's so many great Chris Johnson, like just guys like that. I just was a piece things from their game and see what I can add to mine.
I mean, Chris Johnson was a lightning bolt. Loved watching him. Arian Foster was probably underrated. I love all those backs. I'm a running back. I love running backs. And interestingly, given that you're a 7th-round pick, I went back and see what Hall of Famers there have been late round. And once upon a time, the draft was 20 rounds. So, but there are some old Cleveland Browns. For some reason, the Cleveland Browns attracted a lot of running backs. They made the Hall of Fame, including a guy named Leroy Kelly, who was an 8th-rounder. He made it to the Hall of Fame, and of course Terrell Davis was a 6th-rounder and Super Bowl MVP and all that. So, it doesn't matter what size, shape, speed, none of that matters. If you're tough and you can grind out yards, you're going to make a name for yourself, and that's what you're doing here. And I gave you one. I hope you're okay with it because it just came out in the Cincinnati game. Mighty Monangai. Do you feel mighty?
Nah, yeah, I like it. Mighty Monangai. I've been waiting for like a nickname that sticks, so maybe that's the one.
Let's go back to that game. Were you in a zone that day?
Yeah, I think I felt like shades of my old self of just getting into, I'm used to being in a bell cow role in most times, and I think it kind of got, reminiscent of that in that game. Kind of had that same feeling. Knowing that, Swifty was down and Roshan was out that week, so it's going to be a lot of the workload on me. But, I think what I did was just try to take one play at a time. And even when I go back and watch the film from that game, I left so much on the field. Like, I could have performed even better, but I think I was able to just get into a rhythm and eventually wear the defense down, and I was able to grind out those tough yards. And, the small 3-4 yard gains turned into more at the end of the game.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, and I've had discussions with people, I say, hey, don't think this way. You have the mentality, you have the body type, you can shoulder a load. And some people look at size and they say, I don't know if he could do 20, 30 carries a game. People don't get 30 carries anymore in the NFL, but you could do this, couldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I've done it before, and I know it's in the best level, it's the best of the best, so people may say, they're able to do it in college, that won't fly in the NFL, but that's the mentality I have. I take care of my body to be able to handle that workload, and I have the mentality for it to take as many carries as I need.
It's often said that, first of all, the center and the quarterback got to see the game as the play caller, in this case, the head coach as well, Ben Johnson. I know you do a lot of work. People have told me you invest a lot, not just on your body and getting ready, but you're a pro, so you're getting ready for games. Are you starting to see the offense through the eyes of your head coach and play caller?
Yeah, I think I start to understand his feel for the game and what he likes to call. And then especially, like, he's very big on the intent of the play, like knowing what we're trying to do with this certain play call. So, when you get the call from Caleb in the huddle, you kind of got to say to yourself, okay, what's the intention of this play in this exact situation? You know what I mean? So I think as the seasons went on, I've gotten to understand him better as a play caller, as a coach. And just in the meeting room when he explains it to us, I've kind of gotten a better understanding for that.
It's not – people think it's just a simple game. It is complex,
Absolutely.
man. My head would be spinning in these meetings. They would be.
You gotta stay focused. You gotta kind of just take every word that he says, and I take a lot of notes, obviously. So I go back and review my notes all the time. So it's a lot of studying, a lot of mental work that goes into this physical game.
Are you a front row guy in the classroom or a back row guy?
Well, we're kind of sit by position, so I'm in the second row. But
in the meeting room?
Yeah, I'm in the front. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So is this notebook? You have many already filled to the gills with notes.
Absolutely.
Are they phrases, or are they? I mean, are they just reminders to you? And how often do you study those?
I look every day. I take a look at it every day. And obviously, as the week goes on, you get a better understanding for who you're playing. But no, my notebook, I write everything down, like just reminders to myself, maybe little. Cheat words to remember things, or whether or not it's like I'll write a full paragraph down. I'm like, hey, this is a scouting report for this player, this team, this defense. Well, I should expect to see things like that. So everything, I write everything down.
I read that you felt at one point in your younger days you had a photographic memory with numbers. Is this true?
Yeah, I don't even remember where I said that, but yeah, that is true actually. Yeah.
How did you realize this fact?
My mom and dad would love to tell that story better than me, but it came from when I was younger. My dad used to have these to read something off. I forget the exact situation, but he was reading a long number off, and I was probably like 8, 9, 10 years old, and it's like, say, a 20-digit number, and he was reading it off, and he then went to go read it a second time, and he messed up on like a digit in the middle, and I was able to correct him because I remembered the whole thing after just hearing it once. So yeah, that became a thing, and I was able to just remember numbers for some reason for a long time.
Do you still feel you have that?
I think it's more so football now.
Yeah,
I think football, I have a photographic memory. I don't really need to hear things too many times to be able to, remember it. And I think that's why the playbooks are always so easy for me. Everywhere I've been able to pick up a playbook pretty quickly.
Now, that's rare.
Yeah.
That's rare. That's a gift right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's especially the way it is today with long play calls.
Yeah.
Back in the old days, they say, hey, power 67 on 3, let's
it.
go.
Yeah.
It's funny talking to older players and modern day players, and
different game.
It's a different game that way, and I get it. Tell me about your parents and your brother, because it sounds like you're a very tight knit family.
Yeah.
Cameroon immigrants, right? Correct.
Yeah, so my parents were born there, and they moved here respectively, I think, when they were like about 18 and 17. And, they met in the States, which is funny because they actually lived very close back in Cameroon. But, they met here, ended up settling down in New Jersey. Had the 3 of us, my oldest brother Kevin, who's 9.5 years older than me. Had my sister Kathy, 7.5 years older than me. And then I was the last one who came years and years later. But, they raised us in New Jersey, and we've always been tight-knit, had family around. But we just grew up not a football family originally. I'll tell you that. They didn't like the idea of football at first. Not understanding it, and just, football to them was soccer. Soccer was football, and that's what they grew up calling it. But my brother started off playing, and, over time, it kind of, grudgingly became football fans, and we became a football family. But, my brother kind of was the one that got me into it. I watched him play, and I started playing in 3rd grade. He started playing in 6th. And, he went to Villanova, played in the NFL for a few years.
Kevin.
Coached for a year, yep. And, played running back as well. So I kind of got a first glimpse of what my career and what the things were to do necessary to get to the level that he got to at a young age. And I think that helped me because I got to see it firsthand. Like, I knew the work that had to be put in. And I knew where to, emulate the things he did. I knew where to tweak some things that he did. And it's kind of like a, cheat sheet in a way, and he's always been there if I need to call him for advice, and he watches the game. So, he coaches me up still.
Tom, what a likable young man, and what a bright future.
Yeah, toughness is tested every day with the running back, from the time you start playing in Pop Warner to wherever the game takes you. In Monangai, when you listen to an interview, his voice is bigger than the person. And I would imagine that he might be a great singer, because when I listen to the interview, he speaks with such self-confidence, and he understands the responsibilities of the running back position. And from the Cincinnati game to where we're at sitting here right now, he's lived up to the expectations for the reason he was drafted in the NFL.
Right, and he is hitting that hole hard. He's getting a lot of 10-plus yard carries, a lot of big runs, clutch moments, red zone. So really a fantastic rookie season brewing here for Kyle Monangai. When we come back, we'll dig into some assistant coaches. The offensive assistants were available today. Some really good stuff from Antoine Randall L. and Dan Rochard. It's coming up next on Bears Weekly on ESPN Chicago and the Bears Radio Network.
This is ESPN Chicago, WNVP, WTBC, HD2 Chicago, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
Jeff Joniak and Tom Thayer chatting about the Bears. It must be Bears Weekly.
Well, if it's Bears Weekly,
it must be the home of the Bears, ESPN Chicago.
This segment of Bears Weekly is brought to you by Athletico Physical Therapy. Visit athletico.com to request an in-clinic or a virtual appointment and start feeling better tomorrow. Tom, great news for DJ Moore. He is the Bears nominee for the Walter Payton Award. This is his 8th season. A man deeply committed to serving the community. DJ feels it's prestigious. He was very grateful for it. I know he was surprised by the Payton family, Jared, and the crew. And what an honor for a guy who just goes about his business. There's not a lot of flash, not a lot of focus on him. He just goes out and works. And he's doing the same thing in the community, Tom. His More to Life Foundation has been around a while before he even got here to Chicago, but it's broad. It's about meaningful opportunities for youth and families, something he was not exposed to growing up in the city of Philadelphia.
His work ethic, his commitment to football, the toughness that he displays on the field, his leadership in the locker room. It doesn't surprise me that he's nominated for the Walter Payton Man of the Year, because he's a man amongst men. When you look at him on this football team, what he's done since he's come here and what he's going to continue to do in the future.
And his coach is Antoine Randall L. And he is like a man who is a coach for all in the Bears locker room right now. Tommy, the assistant head coach as well, Ben Johnson, relies on him a great deal to even speak to the team on a weekly basis before the game. And he has kind of set the tone in many regards for how this team is playing offensive football as a receiver, the no block, no rock, but also as a guy to have them understand that you are in a position now where you're knowing about winning. Here's Antoine Randall L.
I mean, from day one, obviously, to now, they've gotten better. And I just appeal it to them like, man, it's legal. You get to do this. You can do this out in the street. Like, you get to do this. Like, and he in your way. If not, he going to hit your homeboy. So that's the way I approach it. Like, yeah, that's the way I approach it more than anything.
It's one thing to tell them, hey, this is what we want you to do. Did you see the willingness from Jump Street, or is it grown because of their success doing it?
It's grown because of their success, but it's also grown because they've seen, like, this is how it needs to be done. And if you ain't doing it, no block, no rock. So
yeah, so that's just not a phrase, is it?
No, that is not a phrase. If you don't block this offense, you don't get the ball.
How much fun are you personally having, because you've experienced all this a lot of these guys here haven't?
Man, I'm having a lot of fun. I love teaching. So I have a lot of fun in the teaching part, and obviously when you're winning and they can see the fruit of what they've been putting in, it's great. So that's the biggest thing, man. Being able to teach and seeing them be able to grow and see like this. Okay, it does work. We do it this way. I do it the other way. It don't work. So do it the way Coach is trying to teach it.
Do you appreciate Ben giving you the opportunity to kind of get in front of these guys a little bit as a team?
Yeah.
And
no
you're at the root of this belief.
That's right. And that's I appreciate Ben allowing me to get up and talk before the team, because at the end of the day, like I always, we are in it together, meaning us, the coaching staff. So with that being said, like, it's like, all right, I get that opportunity, so the players see me, and hey, if something ever happens, I got to be up and ready to go anyway. So let's be able to do it now, be able to share it, and keep them on the edge about believing and knowing. So
do you have to come up with a new idea every week? How do you come about this?
Man, I'm always asking God to give me what he wants me to share with him, and every week it's something that's spot on as it relates to us and where we are. So that's what I really lean on at the end of the day.
How do you know it's resonating?
Because
what you're done, because sometimes a public speaker, you're reading the audience.
Their response when we're in there, and then how they talk about it afterwards, after we're out of that meeting. That's when okay, all right. And then they're saying it on Sunday too.
They regurgitate it.
Yeah, they regurgitate believing. Like we talked about, like emptying your cup, having nothing left at the end of the game type deal, like giving more. I'm giving more. So that's when you see that, and they're responding to it, and they're repeating it. It's like, all right.
How does it come to you to know what to say?
Again, a lot of times I could be reading something. I could be driving home. I could be talking to my wife. Oh man, and she'd be like, "What?" And I have to write it down so I don't forget it.
Light bulb moment.
That's right. That's exactly right.
I don't get a chance to talk to him very much because every other week we get the offensive assistants and the defensive assistants, and he has always got a big crowd around him. He sits back in a chair sipping his coffee. He's a fun guy to talk to.
The thing that I really appreciated Antoine Randall L. the most, and I've known of Randall L. since he's been a high school kid here in the state of Illinois. But when you ask him about his addressing the football team basically on a weekly basis, standing in front of the team, it's not something he sits there and thinks about and writes and makes up. It's something that comes to him. And I appreciate that more than anything, because it's the word you always use. It's organic.
Yep.
And, if you're sitting there writing catchphrases and stuff, that's the kind of stuff that goes in one ear and out the other. And so I really appreciate Ben's appreciation of Antoine Randall L. and why he's here on our coaching staff.
All right, as a longtime football player, whether it be at Joliet Catholic, Notre Dame, Bears, Miami, do you remember any particular speech by a coach that resonated with you in an organic way that you really bought in, paid attention to it, and helped spread the word a little bit? Do you remember any?
I remember one at Notre Dame. We had a coach there. His name was Brian Bullock, and he did a lot of things. He played football there. He was a tight ends coach. He was the assistant offensive line coach. But when we were going onto the field through the tunnel at Notre Dame, we were being disrespected by the team we were playing. That was Michigan State. And he got in the background in his foundation of his adult life, which was Notre Dame, and he was an incredible just Notre Dame person, that he was offended by the way they were acting towards us. And he brought that up into the locker room, and rather than the head coach sit there and give you some pep talk before the game, it was Brian Bullock's chance to kind of tell us what it meant to him to be disrespected in our stadium. We went out and won the game, but the message resonated with me up to this point.
All right, I'd love for you to be in a room one day with Dan Rochar in an offensive line meeting. As a player, I wonder what he's like in there. I have a pretty good feeling, but what a terrific guy. We've gotten to know him a little bit here, and really impressed with his coaching. So I took the moment today to ask him about topic number one, really, when it comes to Green Bay Packers right now, the guy who leads the NFL in quarterback pressures, it is Micah Parsons.
Elite quickness, unbelievable change of direction, can change the outcome of the game in a play, both run and pass. He's an elite player. He's one of the better players in our league, regardless of position, and we're going to have to play really well and account for him.
Most of the time you think of edge, run at him, but is he underrated for his?
I think so. I think he's playing better. From our perspective, he's playing the run well. He's rushing the passer well. He's a high effort guy. So it brings a challenge.
Does it free up Gary?
Well, I don't know that it frees up Gary because he's a damn good player, too, and they've got a lot of them all across the board. But Micah deserves all the attention that he does get. You see it from other teams as they go, and we're mindful of that. We got to get the other side done, too.
Anything resonate about what he had to say about the two edges, not just Micah Parsons, but also Rashawn Gary?
Well, you definitely can't ignore him in all of your game planning, running, pass blocking. You got Parsons with 12.5 sacks, Rashawn Gary with 7.5 sacks. That's 20 sacks by two guys. Parsons, he's not a first timer. He's done it every year of his career, had double-digit sacks. So when you look at his performance, it's something that it keeps an offensive line coach up at night. But you have Ben Johnson, and from what I've seen out of him, he always has a plan in place that can not take care of those guys, but be aware of those guys.
Well, you always told me there was one guy that kept you up and late at night, and that was Reggie White. So wouldn't you know it, Micah Parsons and Reggie White, the only two players in NFL history to have 10-plus sacks or more in their first 5 seasons in the National Football League. And he's also at 12.5 sacks each of the last 5 seasons. So quite the career.
Reggie White only lined up in 2 spots. He's either going to line up over the right tackle or he's going to line up over the center. Micah Parsons has a skill set where he can line up anywhere up and down the line of scrimmage.
All right, we'll hear from Dennis Allen. He's coming up next to take an eyeball look at Jordan Love and the Packers offense. Here as the Bears get ready to meet Green Bay Sunday in Lambeau Field here on ESPN 1000 of the Bears Radio Network.
Welcome back to Bears Weekly on the Bears Radio Network. Here's your host, the voice of the Bears, Jeff Joniak.
This segment of Bears Weekly is brought to you by IGS Energy. Jeff and Tom taking a look at the Packers through the eyes of defensive coordinator Dennis Allen. Before we hear from him, I want to hear from you about your opinions on Jordan Love. When you watch tape, what are you seeing here in this short career that is immediately jumped to everybody's radar because he's playing some good football and protecting the ball, unlike the early part of last season when he had, I think, 11 interceptions in the first 10 games of the season, but only 3 since.
Well, he had the perfect path to playing quarterback in the NFL. He was able to sit behind Aaron Rodgers for a couple of years and be able to learn the system. And then being in the same system this long. He's a hardworking guy, obviously, because he's playing the position like it. He's got a lot of self-confidence. He's got a lot of arm confidence. They've been able to bring in a couple weapons for him, Golden and Watson, but Watson hasn't stayed healthy. They had a talented tight end. He was been injured. They brought in Josh Jacobs, and I think he's a perfect complement to Green Bay in that area because it isn't a major city. It's a city that's in the middle of the Midwest, and you have to have that Green Bay Packers mindset in order to be successful there, and obviously he has that.
Dennis Allen doing some great stuff with the Bears defense despite some injuries. He was at the podium Thursday to dissect Jordan Love and the Packers.
Look, I see a quarterback that does a really good job of processing. He gets through his reads. He knows where he wants to go with the football. He delivers the ball accurately. I see a guy that's playing really at a high level. He's got a lot of good skill players to get the ball to, so I think it's certainly a challenge for us, that's for sure.
Definitely good football. And Deshaun Wright named Defensive Player of the Month. What has his contribution just meant to your defense this year?
Yeah, he's been huge for us. Again, he's a guy that really, kind of had to step up, in the absence of a couple other guys, and he stepped up in a big way for us. He continues to find his way around the football, continues to make plays. And really, that's what this game's about, and so really pleased with what we've seen out of him.
Did you see anything in him prior that gave you an inkling that this kind of production was in there?
Well, look, what I saw was each and every day and each and every week during training camp, I saw a guy that continued to get better, and I've said this before, and I think, anytime you got a guy that's got talent and intelligence, and they're willing to work, those guys get better. And that's exactly what he's done. He's come in every single day, put his head down, went to work, tried to do the things that we're asking him to do. And I think he's reaping some of the benefits, and we're reaping some of the benefits of that.
Dennis, the numbers show that Jordan's been pretty good at basically every depth of the field. Where do you see his best efficiency? What do you have to prioritize?
Well, look, there's a lot of things that he does, really well. I think they're pretty aggressive in terms of how they want to attack you. I think, they've got a lot of things where they're trying to attack you down the field, whether it be in the intermediate range or the deep ball down the field. I think he throws a really nice deep ball, puts it in, a very catchable spot for his guys to go make a play. And yet, when that's not there, he does a good job of getting the ball down to the check down, and those guys gain yards on check down. So they make it challenging with what they do schematically, what they do, in terms of the skill position players that they have, and so it'll be tough for us.
All right, I got to ask you about the running game against the Packers defense. So they're super fast. It's the fastest Packer defense that I think I've seen watching them on tape. So inside, though, losing Wyatt, yes, they've got big bodies in there. Yes, they still have players that can be, challenging. But the Bears are 6th on inside runs this season, production-wise. Packers are 22nd. Packers 3rd in yards before contact allowed on inside runs, but 18th after contact. Bears are atop of the charts in yards before contact. I know that's a lot to digest, but who wins this battle?
Listen, so all these things that you can read from all these analytical sites, I still break it down to 10 yards. Who can get me 10 yards the quickest, and who can do it repeatedly? If you can have an inside running game that takes a toll on a depleted defensive tackle position, whether it's injuries or no more Kenny Clark, then I'm going to do that 50 times in the game. And I know that Ben never sets his sights on numbers, and sometimes we have to remind him in post-game of those numbers. But I feel if my offensive line is gelling at the point of attack runs, and I got a couple guys like Swift and Monangai that are taking advantage of it, I'm fine with that. I just want to get the next first down, and then let Ben call the play according to how he sees it. So you have to consider the Bears are really good at running outside zone plays. I think you're going to have to go to the line of scrimmage, and you always do with 2 plays in mind. And you might have to first find out where Micah Parsons is according to the most efficient run you have called. If he's on the outside, run on the inside. If he's on the inside, run right at him. Make him make a deflected interest in a 300-pounder coming at him.
By the way, Swift and Monangai, top 10 in the league in yards before contact among running backs. Something to keep an eye on, too. Their safety, Evan Williams, outstanding, dropping into the box and getting physical in the run game. All right, when we come back, Tom's thoughts to wrap us up in our final segment here this week on Bears Weekly on ESPN 1000 and the Bears Radio Network.
Bears.
It is good!
Bears Weekly.
Time expires!
A deep dive into all things Bears.
And the Bears win!
With Jeff Joniak and Tom Thayer, this is the home of the Bears, ESPN Chicago.
This segment of Bears Weekly is brought to you by Athletico Physical Therapy. Visit athletico.com to request an in-clinic or virtual appointment and start feeling better tomorrow. Before Tom's thoughts, the injury report for the Bears. No practice again, shoulder for Ruben Hippolyte, the second. Roma Dunze, Tom, no practice yet this week with his foot. It's been something that's been ailing him for a bit. Tyrique Stevenson still working through a hip injury, a rest day for Joe Thuney. Limited return for TJ Edwards. Kyle Monangai did not practice Wednesday. The Bears didn't. That would have been a projection. Limited, so on the way back from a sore ankle. Full practice for Andrew Billings, who had left the game with a concussion. Dominique Robinson had a concussion 2 weeks ago. A groin and elbow for Johnson and Sewell. Those are just lingering injuries. You feel good about the injury report?
I do. I feel good about it. And you listen, man, one thing, like I said, you look at the injury report this time of the season, some guys are going to pop up and they're going to surprise you. I just hope a guy like Roma Dunze is healthy enough to do what's required out of the receiver. And as Antoine Randall said, no block, no rock is something that's really serious, but it's more about his route running ability and the ability to get in and out of his cuts.
I love that they didn't waver. That's why I asked him that. So this is a thing. Like, don't waver. Like, sometimes teams have these slogans and they dissipate in the fog of the season. No, this is the way it's going to be here. Period.
Right, and his voice elevated when he said it, so I appreciated that.
All right, the brilliant mind of Tom Thayer. Tom's thoughts. It needs to be sponsored. I don't know by whom or by what, but we should get it done. Your first one. One can't be the loneliest number. Look at you pulling a little musical tie-in.
Right. So, number one, I'm referring to Parsons, right, Jeff?
Yeah.
He cannot be ignored. He can't be the loneliest guy in the field. He's got to have bodies on him. He's got to have 4 eyeballs on him all the time with 4 hands on him all the time. You're not going to give up a vulnerability, but you have to be aware of him. And this goes back to Reggie White. This goes back to Lawrence Taylor. There's only a couple guys that have this type of reputation throughout their career. So, one, don't allow him to be the loneliest number. Have a lot of people at or near him.
Well, you might do the same thing a week from now against Myles Garrett.
As well.
Yeah. Oh, God. Did you see, by the way, the Myles Garrett pass rush against Trent Williams and George Kittle last week?
Yes.
That's from another planet. That's cyborg. That's not normal. Tom,
hey, man.
Just to explain it, he made a Euro step and sliced across the face of both guys who basically whiffed. Yeah. This is a Hall of Fame left tackle, likely, and an outstanding blocking tight end. Wow. We'll get into that next week.
Well, that's why Dick Stanfield always says you have to grudgingly retreat. If you sit there and you think you're going to drop back and give no pressure to a dominant opponent like that, he's going to do that to you every time.
All right, Tom, be thick when they want you to be thin. These are great.
So, if you look up there, look at some of their offensive formations, they break the huddle, right? So they have a center. They have 5 guys to the right of the center. They got offensive linemen, 3 tight ends. And what that does is that doesn't give you a dominant second level. That gets you everybody spread out along the line of scrimmage. And if they get into that second level, you know what the next level is that's trying to tackle you? It's a third level safety cornerback that's trying to get to you. So if they're going to put that formation out there with regularity, you got to be big. You got to take up a lot of space. You got to be thick. So when they want to thin you out, you got to be thick.
All right, lastly, Well, I'd have no problem being thick because I am. I'm far from thin, Tommy. I'm far from thin. It's okay to be naughty this close to Christmas, Tom.
I just want them to steal a possession. And however it is, if it's an interception, if it's a great special teams play, if it's something that comes at the most unexpected moment in the game, I just want them to steal a possession some way, somehow. And you talk about the turnover team that the Chicago Bears have been, but as we get into this Christmas season, man, I want them to steal a possession.
Yeah, be Grinch about it. Come down and take all the presents.
Right. Little Susie from the Who Village.
Oh, you're in a new level right now. Winning serves you well, Tom. It puts a nice shine on you.
Yeah, come Sunday morning.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not going to have this smile on.
Yeah,
but
this is outstanding stuff. Very good, very good. By the way, I'd like to see the Bears jump on the Packers early to get them thinking, and then hang on for dear life at the end because they come at you hard in the fourth quarter. That quarterback does. But they give up the fewest number of first-quarter points, and they don't give up much on first possessions of the first quarter and the third quarter. So something to keep an eye on as the Bears, because the Bears have done the same, taking the ball away on first possessions and being pretty good in the first quarter. So we'll dip into that more on Sunday, but we'll have it for you starting at 3:25 in the afternoon window. A whole nation will be watching Bears-Packers. For Tom Thayer, I'm Jeff Joniak. Thanks to all of our producers. And thank you tonight for listening. Coming up, ESPN National Coverage, Amber and Ian. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Chicago Bears Network presentation of Bears Weekly, hosted by the Mayor of Bearsville, Jeff Joniak, and Surfmaster Tom Thayer. Podcasts are available on the Chicago Bears official app, brought to you by Verizon and Apple Podcasts. Bears Weekly has been brought to you by Miller Lite.